I've been lucky enough to own the original Nikon FE for around 8 years so far, and I can confidently say that it's a very simple and enjoyable camera to use. On the top plate there is the shutter speed dial with auto mode and with a lock button on top of it. The shutter speed range goes from 8 seconds to 1/1000 of a second with a flash sync speed of 1/125. On the other side of the top plate there is the ISO dial that goes from ISO 12 to 3200. The only thing is that you need two hands to change the ISO. But since with film you don't change the ISO while shooting, there is no problem at all. There is also exposure compensation in form of a pull-up ring, and it goes from -2 to +2 in half stops. The camera requires two LR44 batteries to operate, but there is also one mechanical shutter speed at 1/90th of a second that doesn't need the battery. So even if you run out of the battery, you can take photos using the Sunny 16 rules. The back of camera is also very simple. There is a holder that you can use to put a piece of your film box to remember the film, and there is a button to check if the battery has still juice in it, and that's it. On the bottom plate of the camera there is the battery compartment, film release button, grip attachment connection, and tripod socket right on the center of the lens. In front of the camera there is the self timer and depth of field lever and lens release button, all nice and clean. Being an f-mount camera means that you have access to one of the largest lens selections ever made. I usually use mine with this Nikon 50mm f1.8D, which is a plasticky lens but feels very good on this smaller body. One thing that surprises me is that the camera thickness is 31mm, matching the thickness of Leica M3. Of course it's a little thicker around the lens for flange distance, but remember this is an SLR with a flapping mirror in it, and it matches the thickness of M3 that does not have a mirror, so quite an achievement in my opinion. The camera weight is also 591 grams on my kitchen scale, again matching the weight of Leica M3. The viewfinder of camera is big and bright, and it shows everything you need. On the left side there is a needle mechanism that shows you the recommended shutter speed and your actual shutter speed. And even you can see your aperture on top of the viewfinder using a very simple mirror on top of the lens ring, which I find it really smart. Loading the film is also very easy. In fact, everything about this camera is simple, easy, and effective. These days you can find the Nikon FE used very cheap. But of course Nikon didn't stop at this and released other similar styled cameras, with the best of them being Nikon FM3A, which today is almost as expensive as a Leica M3. And here are some sample photos, all taken using this camera with color and black and white film. So that's it. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also feel free to follow me on Instagram and X, also known as Twitter.